Thank you for patiently waiting for our next speaker. I would love to call Mr. Piyush Agarwal, who is our next speaker, to come and please give us a detail about the topic.
Hello. Better? So we'll take the next 30 minutes to talk about experience dilemmas, right? And how the composable architecture can help you, deliver better experiences. Right? And basically, we need to just think about, how do we deliver, how do we kind of navigate through this experience dilemma and deliver experiences that matter for the customer. Can I change the mic? No, you can use that podium. Okay, is better now?
Yeah, much better.
See, the technology is never simple. You can see, right? This is always very complicated to work with the technology. Now, let's just look at the complexity that we are dealing with today, right? Any customer journey, right? It is not linear anymore, right? You cannot just imagine that a customer will always come through my marketing channels and then I will take him to the to search and browse, and then I will take him to the place order journeys. It doesn't work that anymore. Right? If the customer can enter any part of the journey and the wheel starts rotating, right? You can always place an order from a marketplace and you can directly enter into your system through your delivery or the big pack ship wheel of the cog of the wheels, or it can be directly entering into your customer service. The order placement, order fulfillment is done by somebody else. So the complexity of the overall experience and the customer journey is becoming complex, with the technology advances that we are seeing, and the customer expectations are rising. So if you just see what all our customers are using in the previous days. So if you see around you, the retail space is growing. It is like even the offline channels that you have, right? The retail stores that you have, they are growing, right? In your neighborhood shops, it is not closing down. You are actually seeing more and more shops opening in your neighborhood. Same thing, the people who were actually using TV in the previous days, they are still using TV, right? We all are watching TV. We are still reading newspaper. We are still, connecting through, phones, right? Nothing has been replaced. It has all been edited, right? So the customer channels that we can engage, or the people use to communicate, it is not, it's not coming down. It's just increasing. It's not about replacing one channel or the other. So the customer has made up their mind that they will not lose anything. Right? They will just keep on adding to more and more channels. So we have to be, ready for the next generation of, channel strategy. Right? This channel explosion is not going to go down. It's just going to increase more and more. Today we are not thinking about AR/VR as our primary channel, but tomorrow it might become one. Right? How do we make sure that whatever we are designing today will remain relevant tomorrow? Our customers who are today, maybe walking into the stores or coming through our websites and so on, how will we make sure that we keep, them engaged when they kind of move on to their next preferred channel, right? So there is nothing called as one channel, right? It's always omni-channel experiences. And each of these cogs also, if we see, so if you just look at each and every of the cogs, it is not a very simple system anymore. It's very complex. Each one of them will at least have 5 or 6 different capabilities, and each of them can actually have 10 or 15 different systems in an enterprise to cater. Right? So, and with all this complexity, the data also becomes very fragmented. Your marketing system will have a data which will not be available to your CRM people and your customer service support people. The commerce data is not available to the marketing. So all of these cogs are not interconnected, right? The data is still sitting in silos. So how do we deal with this complexity? So the customer really doesn't care about technology, right? Customer only cares about interaction. And when we talk about experiences, we have discussed previously also. Each and every interaction matters for the customer. He will not be satisfied just because your website is looking good. He will not be satisfied because your product is very good, right? He will not be satisfied because your after sales service is good. He needs each and every interaction that happens with your brand or your company to be at the same level, right? How do we make sure that we remember what previous experience that this person had with my brand and take that knowledge to the next system, right? So that is the challenge that we are having. Now, also, we have talked about the experience and the problem. We all established that, okay, yes, experience is important. So what? Now we have to deal with it, right? So how do we deal with it? How do we make sure that we actually don't create those experience silos, and we create a experience which is a total experience for the customer, right? That's a goal. And how do we make sure that whatever complexity that we have shown in the previous slide, all that is not creating any frictions, it's not creating any noise, it is actually giving a seamless, transparent experience to the customer. Now, okay, let's look at a real life example, right? So let's take, we all use coffee machines in our offices and so on. Now the coffee machine, if I just add another functionality to it, that okay, let me add face recognition to it. Let me also add some, right, the moment it will see my face, it will say, hello, Mr. Piyush, do you like your ginger tea and so on. Will it be a good experience for me? Yes, obviously, right? I will like my coffee machine to talk to me. Why not? Right? If it happens, happens. Right? But will that satisfy me totally? Definitely not, right? I will like my coffee or my tea to be exactly the way I like it, right? So that consistency check, that quality of that tea that I'm getting from a vending machine is also equally important too. So how do we make sure that technology actually enables us to do that? It is also about connecting timely services, right? So how do we make sure that we are using the technology to do those arbitration checks and doing the service, kind of making sure that it is always available to us. So it is, then we can also take it to the next level, right? We can actually start collecting all of these analytics about each and everything. Like we can put a lot of IoT devices, mobility, analytics, whatever fancy words that we can think of, we put it in this machine, and then we start collecting all this data. And we say that, okay, let's also, whenever something happens, let's raise a ticket, right? And, kind of make this experience, better. And then maybe you can also make it, connected to your e-commerce. Why do you want to have your inefficient operations? Most of the coffee machines, you will see there will be a service cycle. Every 3 hours, somebody will come and check. What is a coffee beans level, this and that. Why can't the machine tell me that I'm low on coffee and directly order and make it more efficient for us? We can also look at these problems from the brand or the vending machine owner perspective. If you look at this, it's they are also looking at it will help them increase their revenue. It will help them reduce the downtime of the machines. These are the problems that they are grappling with as of now, right? Their revenues they are losing sales to the competition and so on. And how do they kind of with this solution make sure that they are always having a good experience as well? And if they do all that and we unlock the value of the data that we are creating, we will be able to kind of give them a always on machine for coffee and internet. Okay, so this is all about a case study kind of, but what actually happens inside. So if we think about what has happened in the last 2 decades, there are 3 major technology innovation that has kind of driven the growth that we have seen. Last 20 years have been fantastic for the service providers, for the technology providers. What were those 3 things? First one was the movement towards SaaS services, right? And that also includes the cloud virtualization, right? So because of the cloud and virtualization, the SaaS services became the norm, right? Everything we want to expect that we will have the licensing model of pay as you go. I will get a lot of services, and that allowed a lot of people to come and create products for very very niche services and so on. It kind of eliminated the barriers to kind of create a technology product which was earlier there. Then second one was around mobility, right? So the mobile devices, the device we carry on our pocket now, it's a very very powerful computer. So if you just see in the last 20 years that computing power and then the network connectivity has been a massive driver for what we are seeing today. Right? That last 20 years we have seen massive growth in these areas, which has led to this immersive growth that we have seen. Right? Everywhere now people are wanting more and more services to be there on their mobile devices. Then the third one is also about the kind of the this is your data and analytics. Right? We have seen a lot of data and analytics being generated, and that feedback loop is coming through and so on. But as we stand in 2023, the growth projection for all of these three things is not going to be the same, right? It is going to, we are already seeing a plateau on all of these three things. Now the mobile devices, nobody cares if it is becoming from 8 GB to 16 GB and so on. Are you getting excited about it? Probably not. So that is, that growth trajectory that was just happening because my mobile can do more is gone. Same thing with the cloud and SaaS. It's not happening anymore, right? Just everything is SaaS and it's not going to help me, right? So what are the next things that we need to be, that will actually, but is it going to stop? Probably not, right? So there is new things which are coming now. And according to me, again, there are three things which will probably define the next generation of growth. The first one being I would take a very controversial one, but I think the NFTs are going to be big, right? The non-fungible tokens, the digital assets. As of now, very few of us will own it, but maybe in the next 5 years, most of us are already thinking about maybe investing in digital gold, right? Digital gold is not a very, maybe 5 years back we would have thought we would have not trusted it or whatever, but now we are comfortable with it. Many of, almost 70% of us will already have demat accounts, right? And we already are in some ways already owning some sort of digital assets which we can trade, right? And more of growth of these things in the merchandising world and in different aspects, these these things will come up. Obviously, metaverse is a next generation of NFTs, where you will be able to trade that more publicly and you can have stores created for those NFTs and so on. But maybe that is still on a very, very nascent stage. But the other two are already kind of, what we see is growing. And the next one is, I think everybody will agree, is the AI, right? It is, it is here and it is now, right? It is, everything we expect to be intelligent, like the coffee machine that you just saw. We expect our, inanimate things to be more intelligent now, right? And it's not surprising us that my coffee machine will talk to me. I said, oh, so what? Right? So that is what the expectation now, that we will always, will have this AI enabled in almost everything. And and in the morning session also you heard about ChatGPT and so on. Now that technology is already there, right? And that is where the next phase of growth will come. That technology has to be adapted into our real life experiences. Right? And then the third one that we have is around composability, right? So the composability is the next wave that we think will drive the next phase of architectures. What do we mean by composability, right? So if we just look at the composability, you would have heard of this math principles and so on, so I'll not bore you with it. But obviously it is not limited to this one. What really the composability means is, we look at these platforms as foundational services, right? So all the SaaS services that we are seeing today, all these different startups that are there are different platforms, MarkTech and this and that. All these platforms should be looked upon as foundational framework, right? And we should, then kind of be able to look at this one. So these platforms will become foundational framework. On top of it, we will have functionality and data as composable blocks. So we will have to think about all of these services as Lego blocks, right? So these are the Lego blocks that we will have in our kitty, and then we will design the business processes and experience using those Lego blocks, right? So now this also raises the question: will this what will happen to those platforms, right? Whatever the SaaS services that has actually come up in the last 20 years, will that stay? So yes, that will stay, but they will have to evolve. They will have to evolve to get to be adaptable to this architecture, because this is not without this one you won't be able to create the experiences of tomorrow, right? The experiences of tomorrow has to be connected. It has to be a total experience of the customer, and that is where each and every platform has to look beyond what where they will be used and in what context. They will have to be more open about the data they are collecting, and they have to think about how do they actually fit into the larger ecosystem of technology world, right? And they have to think themselves as a Lego block. If they're not fitting into as a Lego block which can adapt itself to any larger architecture, probably they will not stay, right? Because this will become how we create architecture of tomorrow. Now we are in Meet Magento, so let me not talk about a Magento. This is very important, right? So we'll talk about Magento on one slide, right? So where are Magento heading with this composable thought process? So I feel it is moving in the direction. Obviously, it's not there yet, but it's moving in the right direction. You see the first two things; it's already there, which you will see that we have APIs, we have modules. This has been there for years now. But what we have seen recently, specifically with Adobe Sensei, I quite like the way they kind of embedded the Sensei with the Magento, and then kind of enabled that as a service, right? So that was one of the first SaaS service that was a different platform, but was given as part of the commerce. So I think that is where the path, the composability comes in. That you have actually, maybe in the background you have all these different platforms and all that, but to me you are giving them as Lego blocks, and you are giving me the option to say that which API I will use, which functionality I will use where, and how will I kind of create those experiences. And then also look at that Adobe I/O gateway, right? That is also just the right step in the direction where the thought process is going towards creating a API mesh where you will be able to not only work with Adobe suite, right? Not just Magento. I'm talking about the Adobe suite of creating different services and matching those APIs, and looking at moving from platform economy to the API economy is the move I believe that they are going towards, and which is the right way to kind of move towards a composable architecture. So and they will all have their own different processes, and B2C you can still think of, because everything is coming to a retailer and then they are buying and so on. But B2B is very complex processes, and bringing different brands on the same B2B platform is a challenge in itself. So how do we kind of went about doing this, right? So what we think of, we thought, okay, forget technology. What do we want, right? What are the players in the market? Let's think about experience alone, right? We thought about, okay, there will be a business consumers who will, or the buyers who will come to the platform. There will be sellers on the platform, and there will be administrator. Let's think about these three, and what is the experience that they want from our platform. Let's only think about that, and we will think about what technology will power which experience and all that later on. And that is what we did. We think about the players first. We think about what are the customer journeys that they want, and we created them as Lego blocks. Then we use those Lego blocks to create additional customer journeys for even more players that came onto the platform. So we actually enabled the same experience that we have for sales agent as well. And if you know the B2B business in India and so on, you know that without having a sales agent journey plan on who can use that particular software, it never works. So that was a kind of a very important role, and we kind of did a convergence of experiences across different personas to give them a total experience, right? So this sales agent was able to have a common card with the vendor, with the customer. He was able to help them understand the problem that the customer is facing. And that actually created that cycle of adoption, which is the biggest challenge that we see in B2B world anyway. And then it is also about the supply chain, right? B2B is all very complex logistics and so on. So how do we kind of make it flexible enough to enable bringing all this smaller ecosystem players, very local players, fintech? Because the challenge with fintech and delivery partners are that you won't find one partner who works throughout pan India. Same thing with who works with all kind of businesses. Fintech players are also they are only able to better a certain kind of businesses and so on. So we created the same Lego blocks and created experiences for all of them. We were able to plug various fintech delivery partners into the same composable architecture, right? And all of that we kind of created a block with data and analytics. So that created a feedback loop. So all of these different systems, and this was a system that we created with 14 different applications put together. And these 14 applications were still giving us all the data and analytics. We were mashing up the data and providing back the feedback to all of those 14 systems to make that experience richer and better for the end consumers. So, yeah. So what was the result of all this, right? So the result of all this was, we had seamless buying experience. We had we were actually able to onboard a lot of different brands. We were, get performance at scale and so on, right? And we were also able to get the higher order value loyalty recommendations. So recommendations that were meaningful for the user, the insights that data that we are gathering, we are analyzing and providing this one. So again, what I was trying to show was the combined power of AI and composability to provide a total experience to the customer. Right? That was it. So let me leave you with these 4 principles, right? Just to summarize, even if the first example that we saw or the second case study that we saw, it is all about holistic experience strategy. Like we have to start with the North Star, cross-channel, brand, business ecosystem, whatever we think is the experience required. We only start from there. Then we connect the dots, right? We say that, okay, what are the business functionality they will need? And we, think about systems, functions, and then, but we still think holistically. We make sure that we capture insights from each and every data interaction that the customer does with our platform. We don't miss any parts of it. And then we, actually, do the experience in the moments, right? That is very important. So your experience, what the customer experience with your brand is in the moment. Only when he is accessing your site, if the site is slow, it doesn't matter if 99% of the time your site was fast enough, right? 1% for that customer matters. So how do we, and same thing, so within that moment, what was his experience and how do we make that experience more richer? And that is where all this data insight that we have captured from rest of the system to make that one single recommendation to him matters. So it is not just about a very small recommendation that we are providing him. It is about thinking what he will value more and kind of giving him in that moment, right? That is what matters. And then obviously once we have got all of this right, we will be able to create new innovative products and services on the composable platform that we have created. Basically, I believe these are the things which creates the, separates the best from the rest in a way, right? So how do we kind of create a best site and how are the rest site works? That is a difference where we started with the experience and then, trickle down. And wherever we are thinking more, how do we create a commerce platform and so on, we forget the experience in the whole. And basically what we wanted to leave is with, again, the same thing, that each interaction matters, and that's what we have to deliver to the customer each and every day. Okay, and that's all that I had. I'm ready for Q&A if there is anything.